and welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. We are coming to you live here Sunday morning early. I want to thank today's guest, Billy Pinckney, for switching and changing. I threw him a change up and boom, here we are. Going to be a Sunday morning, but proud member of the Education Podcast Network, Voicehead Radio Canada, wherever you're taking in your podcasts, your live shows here. We appreciate it. Leave us a positive comment, leave us a review, and certainly this morning, say hello to today's guest, Billy Pinckney. He'll be with us in just a minute from New Jersey. He's a baseball expert. He's a passion expert. He's a young kid getting started here in the world of baseball. Well, I shouldn't say started because he's been a player his whole life. So we'll meet Billy in just a moment. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for today's program, IXL. If you're an educator and you're watching, I'm sure you've heard of IXL, but let's hear a word from them. Hey friends, Andrew Murata here, Surviving and Thriving. And I want to thank today's sponsor for the podcast, IXL. Discover the power of data-driven instruction in your school with IXL. It is the most widely used online learning and teaching platform K through 12. It gives you everything you need to maximize learning, from a comprehensive curriculum to meaningful school-wide data. And IXL's diagnostic is research proven to be a strong predictor of performance on standardized assessments, including NWEA, MAPS, STAR, iLearn, just to name a few. And the best part, everything I just mentioned is all integrated into one platform, so you can simplify your EdTech tools. Visit IXL.com to lead your school towards data-driven excellence today. The link is in the show notes. And again, I want to thank IXL for sponsoring Education, Leadership, and Beyond. All right. Thank you, IXL, for being a sponsor of the program. If you are interested in getting in touch with me about that, please reach out and we will connect. Let's get started here on this Sunday morning. It's baseball playoff time. And Pete Rose died last week. Whether you're a baseball fan or not, you know the name Pete Rose. You know his style of playing hard and being an all-time record holder in Major League Baseball. And you also probably heard that, he got himself in trouble. Gambling got banned for that big cardinal sin in baseball. But in thinking about Pete Rose, and again, we have a baseball expert on today, Billy Pinckney, in just a minute. He had the most hits, right? He's called the hit king in baseball. He's had the most hits. So you think about, wow, he's the greatest hitter in baseball. He also has the most outs. I'll say that again. He's got the most outs. And we think about our lives as educators, as parents, as young kids like Billy trying to get started in the business. You fail more than you succeed. He failed 7 out of 10 times, and he's the hit king. We get down on ourselves when we fail. We get down on ourselves when we strike out. And the legend of Pete Rose, and again, whether you think he should be in the Hall of Fame or not, that's up for debate. What inspires me is, you strike out, you keep going. You swing and miss, you get up again. 3 out of 10 times he was successful, and 7 out of 10 he failed. He led the majors in outs. Like, that's incredible. But he's the hit king, right? So you win some and you lose some. It's continuing to show up and be your best self are the things that matter most here. I was just going to bring Billy into the show, and I just lost him there. So let's he's back with us now. If you are watching live, say hello this morning. Jump in, let us know where you're watching from. Maybe it's New Jersey, maybe it's the West Coast, bright and early. But let's bring Billy into the show. Billy, good morning, and welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, great to meet, great to connect. Billy and I are both fans of Dr. Gilbert calling the Success Hotline, and that's how we got in touch. Correct, Billy?
That's correct. That's correct. He put us in contact, and he's the man. So it's always great to connect with people who he knows and who he's been able to help throughout the years, and it's like a little community of us.
Absolutely, it is a kind of disciples of Dr. Gilbert. Billy, you heard the opening segment talking about Pete Rose. I know he was certainly a generation and more ahead of you, but as a baseball guy yourself, what's your take? Should he be in the Hall of Fame, as well as the outs versus hits? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, no, when it comes to Pete Rose, it's really interesting. I always believed he should be in the Hall of Fame, and I think now that he passed away, it's more likely than it was before that he will
Yeah.
eventually get in. But
Yes.
then you look at the other guys who sort of broke the rules, like the steroid players, and that could go down the whole rabbit hole of should this guy be in, should that guy be in? If they let Pete Rose in, who broke the rules, should these other steroid guys be in who traditionally aren't put in the Hall of Fame? So it could get really tricky, but I do believe that he should be in, and an overwhelmingly high number of players in the game of baseball, coaches in the game also believe that same thing. So we'll see what happens, but I think it's more likely now than it ever was before. And when it comes to him making so many outs and having so many hits, you have to fail in order to be successful. That's really what it comes down to. He's somebody who obviously got a lot of outs. You have Reggie Jackson is another guy, struck out a lot but hit a ton of homers. So you need to fail a lot in order to reap the rewards of the successes and the benefits that come eventually.
And baseball is a game of persistence, and they play so much, and there's so this. So absolutely. But Billy, let's introduce yourself. You're from Montclair, New Jersey, Little Falls. You're a graduate of Montclair State. But introduce yourself and tell me, Billy, why baseball? Baseball is your passion. It's shaped your life. You're going into the world of sports and baseball together. Talk to me about that. But introduce yourself and let's get rolling.
Yeah. So my name is Billy Pinckney. I'm from Little Falls, New Jersey, a small town about 30 minutes away from New York City. And I went to Montclair State University, and that was on the same campus, the same place where I became a bat boy for a minor league independent baseball team known as the New Jersey Jackals. I was 11 years old, just loving the game of baseball. And I figured there's got to be some type of way to get involved with the game. And it was just really just taking the opportunity, taking that step of realizing, okay, I'm a fan, I'm a kid who loves to play, but I want to take the next step and learn more about it. I want to be able to be surrounded by professionals. I want to take my knowledge and my game to the next level. How can I do that? By having a minor league team 10 minutes from where I lived. Wow. I felt like there was no better way to do that. And one year, it was 2012, when my dad asked one of the coaches, hey, my kid would love to be a bat boy. Is there any way he could try to get involved? And the coach said, yeah, reach out to the front office in the off season. So that's what we did. We reached out to them, and they needed a bat boy for the next year. They had a few already. And then I got plugged right in, and 2013 was my first year at 11 years old. I was in the dugout with the players, learning so much from them. So it just felt very natural. I didn't really think of many other sports because of the opportunity I had there in baseball. It was a win-win situation. It was a sport I loved, and then the opportunity was there as well. And I played a few other sports growing up. I wasn't really that great at it, but baseball's the one that stuck. And there were so many lessons that you could learn in baseball, and different life lessons that really matter in life. And it's not just baseball that you learn the lessons, but you're able to transfer it into your personal life when you're dealing with challenges and any difficult circumstances.
Yeah, give me a few examples, Billy. You're in the dugout, you're seeing these things. Give me a few examples that resonated with you that now, as a young adult yourself, you're saying, oh, wow, this relates back to baseball.
Yeah, I think anytime you see a player, I work with so many great players. Anytime you see a player who is struggling and they were playing at one of the lower levels of minor league baseball, and then you see them make a couple adjustments, and then those couple adjustments led to a breakthrough and led to them maybe getting signed by a major league affiliate. And then you see that work has created some momentum for themselves, and now they're playing in the big leagues. There's a player I know, Fernando Cruz. He's on the Reds right now, and I worked with him for a couple years. I watched him. He was a good ball player, but then he kept at it. Even though you'd think, oh, maybe it's time for some of these guys to stop playing. It's maybe getting a little too late. They're getting a little bit old. Next thing you know, they're still going. They're getting signed, and then they're making it to the big leagues. So that's an inspiration to me. I think that's probably one of the most inspiring parts about having worked in minor league baseball for so long, is that you have players who have faced so many challenges, and maybe they've gotten released They haven't gotten opportunities they've wanted, but they stuck with it. They didn't let any of those opinions or any of those circumstances impact them, and they kept going. They kept going, and ultimately, some of them made it. Not all of them, but a few of them made it, and that's the kind of perseverance I love to see, and that can help inspire a young kid. And that's
Yeah.
why I love to share their stories, because it's meaningful, it's impactful, and to see them doing their thing at the major league level, that was their dream, and they're living it out right now, and that's what I've really been able to take away from that experience.
And you played yourself at Montclair State? You were a player at Montclair?
I played club ball at Montclair. I didn't play for their D3 team, but I felt like it was a great opportunity to play club ball and still focus on my passion of media. And since I knew what I wanted to do for a long time, I figured I'd focus on my career, focus on media, and then I'd also play club ball and have fun with my teammates and get out there still and play the game. So I was really fortunate to still play, because my senior year in high school was COVID, and that would have been it. So
Yeah.
I couldn't go out like that. I had to find a way to keep going. And it is a great blend of balance of baseball and my schoolwork and my passion of creating content and interviewing players.
Well, speaking of creating content and interviewing players, you've done that a lot. And then you turned that into a book. The name of your book is called Passion Prevails. Billy, you were so nice to send it to me. I read it, and I've given it to players in my school district in Port. So I don't have it in front of me, but hold it up, Billy. Let me see the.
Yes, sir. We got it right here.
Passion Prevails. Tell me about that journey. There's so many people that we know that want to write books. How did you do that?
Yeah. No, the book was a very interesting thing, because I never thought that I'd write a book. I never liked reading growing up, and I figured I'll maybe read some books throughout my life, but I wasn't going to write one. But that changed once I got to college, and I had so many interviews that I've conducted throughout the years with professional players, and a lot of the interviews pertain to advice for younger players. So I had that in the back of my mind. And I had a professor, Dr. Gilbert, the man right there, and he said in each class, at the beginning of every semester, he would say, you got to do something incredible. You got to write a book or break a world record. And he'd said that a couple times. I had him in a few different classes, and he would say that. Everyone would be like, what is this guy talking about? But I actually took it seriously, because I figured, you know what, this is actually pretty realistic. I had an open mind about it. And I realized, I transcribed some of the interviews, and I realized, man, I have a lot of material here. And this is a topic that can really resonate with a lot of players. So if I did a few more interviews this off season, I could have enough material to publish a book. The book is over 300 pages, but what really inspired me to put it together, because you need some type of motivating factor. It's tough to go into something that's not easy and just do it like it's a piece of cake. You have to have something that your why, something that's inspiring you. And for me, it was probably my experience playing as a younger player in high school. I didn't have the greatest high school baseball experience. I was around some influences that weren't necessarily what you'd want to see. When you think of great coaches like Dr. Gilbert or John Wooden or any other ones that you see in sports who really encourage their players and uplift them, we didn't have that. And I noticed a lot of players that I was with quitting. 70% of youth athletes quit by age 13 because it's not fun anymore. And that was one of the stats that really encouraged me to write the book. So I decided to go for it, and it was a great decision. I love being able to inspire young players, and if I can take some of the lessons I learned from the professionals and to put them in my own words and translate them to the younger kids in a relatable way, that's really what it's all about. That's what I'm here to do.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Again, his website, the link is in the show notes, Passion Prevails. If you any connection to baseball, any connection to helping kids, it's a great read. And as he said, it's real life advice. So check that out, Passion Prevails. Speaking of passions, Billy, again, you mentioned about being 10, 11 years old, and you seem to have found right away, like, man, I want to do this. How and when did that happen? There's so many people out there that are still trying to figure out, what do I want to do? Where's my avenue? But that seemed to hit you, pun intended, early. How did that happen for you?
Yeah, I think just being around the game as a kid, just even before I was a bat boy, helped. Just playing the sport. But then I was also playing other sports. I played basketball a little bit, a little soccer. I wasn't very great. I wasn't very good at them. But once I realized that baseball is such an interesting game, and there are so many intricacies of it that made it very difficult. And then that paired with the opportunity in pro ball, I figured I got to find a way to work in this game. And there has to be some way to stay here, because I know it won't be as a bat boy. I know I can't make a living doing that. But
Batman.
that man could make that happen maybe. But there had to be a way to take what I learned and then allow it to continue to grow and find other opportunities and let things materialize as we go along. And when I was around professional players, I'd be picking up little things that could help me, just work ethic. A lot of it being work ethic, a lot of it being how you show up, how you put in the work, how you have a positive attitude. And that helped me then decide, you know what, let's stay in this game, but maybe is that going to be on the business side? Is that going to be on the media side? How will I stay in this game? That was the next question. And I wasn't really sure. I figured, you know what, when I started interviewing players, that would be more of the media side. But I also enjoyed some of the business side as well. I ended up helping the manager there find players for the team. So I was dealing with some player procurement related work. So I thought, okay, maybe a GM. You had people telling me, Billy, you should be a GM. So I wasn't really sure. And even to this day, I can't cancel anything out. I can't say, oh, I definitely won't do that. I definitely won't do that, because the way sports works, the way the industry is, you never know what could happen in 20 or 30 years. So I can't block anything out, but it's funny how it works. And I feel like too, you put work into something, the people around you who are making decisions and are the ones who might give you opportunities, they see it. They see what you're doing. They see the work you put in.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know that they're seeing it, they are. And they'll be more than happy to help you out as you continue to move along.
Yeah, I love that. And again, you just keep showing up. You just keep sticking your nose in there. And anybody that's connected to baseball out here, I would highly recommend. If you look at Billy's website, right, he uses the word collaboration. Why you should collaborate, and there's a lot happening there. Billy, you mentioned Dr. Gilbert again, both a mentor and friend of both of us. That success hotline number, friends, is 973-743-4690. It's in my favorites of my phone. I know Billy and I call each and every day. If you haven't called, I'm telling you, write it down, 973-743-4690. Billy, talk to me about your interactions with Gilbert, in and out of class. Obviously, he's had an impact on you. Calling the Success Hotline has changed my life. How is that relationship with you, with Dr. Gilbert?
It's enriched my college experience for sure. Just having somebody like that. Professor John McCarthy is another one who was a coaching professor as well. And they're kind of like the guys, the two, they feed off each other, which is amazing. But Dr. Gilbert, I went in and I had a few friends who had taken a couple of his classes. And look, I was a sports communication major. I wasn't somebody who was required to take any of his classes. He was in a completely different building, but I heard some good things. And obviously with my interest in sports, and then no one really knew my objectives with the book because I really didn't have them yet. Yeah. But it was just, I felt like it was meant to be. It made a lot of sense that I had him as a professor. I ended up taking, I believe, 3 classes with him. But no, I used to stay after class sometimes, and I go to his office and we just talk about sports, and he'd have me come back once I graduated to talk to some of his other classes. And I'm always happy to do that. But no, it's great when you have professors who you're related, who you can relate to, who are relatable. And sometimes you don't get that. Sometimes it's more of, okay, you go into class, you leave class, and you really don't form some type of relationship. But with him, he wanted to help you. He wanted to help you, and he'd give out his number in class. And he said, I give out my number all the time because nobody calls. Nobody calls. No one wants to put that extra step to learn more and to improve themselves. And that's really what education and college is supposed to be about. You got to take advantage of those opportunities. And he's been more than happy to help me in any way possible. And I've been grateful for that.
Yeah, and hopefully he's watching now. Maybe he'll jump in the thing. I sent him the links there. If
Yeah.
you are watching, say hello. Let us know where you're coming from, and certainly maybe throw a question in there for Billy. Billy, let's talk baseball. It's playoff time.
Yeah.
Big win yesterday for the
Oh
New
boy.
York Metropolitans there. I mean, they're on fire. The
They are.
Yankees won. I know Yankees are your first love there. Why the Yankees, and how do you feel now playoff time? Is your attention level ratcheting up here? Talk to me.
Oh, definitely. It's incredible. It's the best time of the year. You have two New York teams in the playoffs. It's always great to see that.
Oh,
Haven't
yeah.
had that for a while, but no, I became a Yankee fan since birth. It's passed down from generation to generation, and it's exciting to see what they've been doing. And just throughout the years, you go to games and you grow with the team as well. You could identify different moments in your life from going to the ballpark with your family, with your friends, and you grow alongside the team. And it's been incredible to see what they've been able to do this year. And then I think another really special thing is just getting to know some of the players on a personal level. I've been fortunate to interview some players on the team, Oswaldo Cabrera, Jose Trevino, and many other guys as well. And it's fun to see them doing their thing and producing. They had a great game last night. And then the Mets, oh, same thing. You look at them and what they've been able to do just after the start they had this year, and then coming out of it and just having, it seems like sort of that baseball superstition type luck that we've seen with them. Just one little thing happening with, you bring in Jose Iglesias, you bring in Grimace, the mascot from McDonald's, and then you have Iglesias' song. It's just unbelievable what they've been able to do to kind of get on a roll and then finish the year strong and get in the playoffs.
For us old timers, Billy, it feels like there's a little magic.
Oh
Like
boy.
1986, I'm feeling some
Yeah.
magic. I was 11 years old, Billy, in 86, and that was a magical time for me, which, I've always been fond of the Mets since then. But the
Yeah.
Yankees, Billy, I mean, they're a global brand. I'm in Greece, I'm in Italy, we're wearing Yankee hats.
Yeah.
There's a love-hate there. People don't like them because they've been the best. They got the most money. They're the Bronx Bombers.
For sure.
But they're a global brand. How does that make you think, as a 22-year-old starting out, that you want to grow your business? How do the Yankees and the lore and the magic of the Yankees kind of help you think a little bit bigger?
Sure. I think about branding, and the way they've branded themselves throughout the years has been second to none. The history, the tradition, what do people think about when they think of Yankee baseball? They think of winning, they think of excellence, they think of the loyalty. That's what you want to have in a brand, especially when you're creating something that you want to last for a long time. You want to
Mhm.
think about the longevity and how you can be consistent over a long period of time. And they've been consistent. Obviously, they haven't won a World Series in a long time, but that's a difficult thing to do. So, but when it comes to how they operate, they're very much focused on how can they be excellent in whatever they do. And that's something I try to bring into what I do, is trying to excel and bring the best version of myself every day to my work. And the Yankees organization has done that, and I really respect them, because we have great teams out there, but people don't look at the Rockies the same way that they do the Yankees, or a team like the Marlins like they do the Yankees. The Yankees are that premier
Oh, yeah.
brand in sports, not just baseball, and sports. And as you mentioned, you have people in all these continents throughout the globe who are repping Yankee hats. Whether they know exactly what it means or not, they just like the look of it. They're still wearing it because
Oh, yeah.
they are a very powerful brand, and that you could definitely learn a lot from them.
I got to give a shout out to my sister, Susie Prof. Bleeding Yankee Blue is her blog. She's a huge Yankee fan, Billy. I want to connect you and her.
Yeah.
Suzanne Carbonero, check her out. Bleeding Yankee Blue is the name of that blog. And also my friend Asael Ruvalcaba in Texas. He rocks the Yankee hat down there in Texas.
There we
And I know
go.
that, especially with the Astros, I know that probably, gets them going. So two
Yeah.
shout outs there for sure. Billy, again, New Jersey, talking about the Yankees, right in your backyard, right there in Montclair, the famous Yogi Berra, one of the all-time great Yankees, one of the most witty, all those sayings. How does it feel to be right there at the Yogi Berra Museum, be on campus at Montclair State with that connection to Yogi Berra? How's that feel for you?
Oh, it's awesome. I grew up going to the museum and I know them very well over there and they've been great. I That was really one of the areas where I got my start alongside the stadium and the team I work for. We have the museum right next door
Yeah.
and I'd go there whenever they had events and they had players coming in there for book signings and I'd be sure to be there and attend and then try to find a way to interview them. And they got to know me throughout the years and just being associated with Yogi in some way and him being a local guy, it was incredible. And unfortunately, I never got to interview him. He was a little bit older when I started interviewing players, but I did meet him a couple times and he held me when I was 2 years old, the first player who I met. So it's really cool. Nice little connection there. And he's
Wow.
probably my favorite player of all time. Even though
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch him play, he's a bit older, but just the way he carried himself and what kind of person he was, he's
Mhm.
definitely at the top of my list.
And the documentary on him was fantastic.
Yes.
Learning how the Yankees treated him, learning how he, you look at him now, wow, he was a star, and he
Yeah.
was, but he wasn't always treated like that. And again, showing up and bringing your best self despite being the way you're treated was really fascinating. And if you haven't visited the museum, if you haven't watched that documentary, it's really powerful, really pretty cool. So, and it's
Yeah.
great that you're right there.
Absolutely.
Billy, what's next for you? You just graduated college last January, 22. You got the world in front of you. What's next for you?
Yeah, I think the mission stays the same, is really to inspire the next generation of baseball players and athletes. But you think about the steps and how are we going to get there? How are we going to continue to improve? And last week I announced that I partnered with Perfect Game TV. I'm co-hosting a show with them and we're doing
Nice.
exactly that. We're going to be talking to young players who are in their program and how they're doing with their careers, how they thinking, what's their mindset, and what experience have they had, what have they learned from their experiences so far. Because a lot of kids are quitting at a young age, and we want to make sure these kids are enjoying their sport and not feeling like it's time to hang up the cleats at such a young age. Because if I did when I was a young kid, we wouldn't have a lot of this now. I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't have the book. And you don't want to let those negative thoughts or brief moments in time dictate if you end up making a decision that you might regret later or a decision that will prevent you from having some great experiences later on. But I'd like to continue to do that, to continue to help the next generation, and we'll see what happens next. It's tough because you never know what'll come up. This industry is pretty crazy, and you might get a phone call, an email, a text on any given day that can present you with a new opportunity or be the next big thing.
Yeah.
Last year, I partnered with Baseball United in Dubai. It's a new baseball league, and they're trying to grow the game internationally. So last November, I went out there and try to help them create content, grow baseball in the Middle East. And it looks like in 2025, they're going to be doing a lot more out there. So hopefully
Wow.
I'll be back and
Cool.
helping them out again.
Very cool. Again, 22 years old, you keep showing up. It's going to happen for you, Billy. And as someone maybe who's on the other side, I'm almost turning 50 this year. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to see your passion and how you continue to show up. I said, hey, most 22-year-olds I know are sleeping now. They're not on podcasts. They're not up writing and creating the content like you are. So
Yeah.
I salute you. And
Thank you.
if you're a baseball person, you have some connections, certainly reach out. Billy, how best can they get in touch with you? Where can they find you?
Sure. Yeah. BillyTheBatBoy.com is my website. My social media channels are Billy the Batboy on all platforms. It's easy to find me. And then my email, I'm sure we'll put it somewhere, but it's billy@BillyTheBatBoysCorner.com. And you could always shoot me a message or message me on social media, and I'll be sure to get back to you.
Yeah, and he did that with us. Dr. Gilbert connected us. Awesome. Billy, anything you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you?
Oh, boy. I think for any young players watching or any kids, you really just have to put your all into something. You have to go all in. And some people, they think of what will I be missing out on? You have kids who are doing the popular thing to do at a certain age in college and high school. But if you want to get ahead, if you want to be the best person you can be and and excel in something, you have to be willing to do things differently than anybody else. And you can't let that impact you in a negative way and think, oh, I'm missing out on all these things. You have to have a different approach if you want a different result. And I tell kids that all the time. I tell that to myself all the time, because if you want something great, and I've been around some great people, some great professionals, and they tell me the same thing. There are sacrifices involved with this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not willing to sacrifice and make some decisions that are difficult or unpopular, then it's going to be difficult to stand out and do things differently. Standing out's good. In high school, you might not want to be different. You might want to fit in and be the cool kid or be in a particular group, but you want to stand out. You want to be different, and that's how you're going to get ahead.
Yeah. I just met the Hall of Famers at my district in Port Jervis, New York, Billy. I interviewed the Hall of Famers this weekend. I'm going to the banquet today.
Yeah.
And they all talked about that, about finding their passion and going, and where was that? When did they find it? So it was good for you. You were a young boy, and here you are 10, 12 years later, still doing it, and you're going to be doing it. So congratulations. And again, check out his stuff on his website. The book is called Passion Prevails. If you're a baseball coach, if you're a youth league coach, highly recommend it, getting it to your people there. Billy, let's get to rapid fire. It's bottom of the ninth. I got to get to church school. I got to get going here on this Sunday. So I'm coming with the heat here, Billy. This is, you got an 0-2 count. I am throwing some heat.
Oh, boy.
Get a bat on the ball. These are rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Get a bat on the ball. Last book you read?
Last book I read, I'm currently reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Good book. Very good. Last movie you saw?
Movie, The Founder. How McDonald's got started.
You're 2 for 2 so far. Last concert you went to?
Concert. I went to Mike, the guy. Shout out Mike. He's the guy who invented Stevenson Ranch, and he's more like a pop country rap. If you combine the three, that's what you get.
Cool. Where can you find him?
Just Mike on social. His name is Just Mike.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Your favorite dish?
Steak, corn on the cob. You can't refuse a good steak.
You're in a good area for food, that's for sure. Your favorite place to travel?
I gotta say Dubai. I've been there once, but that's probably my favorite one so far.
That's a long way from Little Falls.
It is. It was a long flight, so we forget about the flight. But once we get there, we're good.
Fill in the blank. Baseball is
fun. Teaches you a lot.
New Jersey is.
New Jersey is. I feel like New Jersey is strong. It's got a lot of different things happening. A lot of different things you can do that are different facets of life. You have the shore. You have the city area. You have the country.
Favorite beach in New Jersey?
Ortley. I go to Ortley. Seaside, but Ortley.
Cool. If you weren't in baseball, what field do you think you would be in?
Either psychology or business.
Yeah. And you're doing all of that with baseball.
Exactly.
A pet peeve of yours?
Yelling. Too much yelling. I can't deal with all that.
What's a pet peeve of yours in the game of baseball?
Could also be yelling and coaches who are a little bit arrogant, but I'd say, a game of baseball. I'll give you one. Chewing tobacco.
You don't see much of that anymore.
Yeah. I feel like it's not as bad as it was. I feel like guys are transitioning to other more healthier options, I guess. But as a bat boy, I picked up my fair share of the tins.
A recent victory?
Oh, boy. I'd say probably the opportunity with the Perfect Game TV.
Nice. One thing you're curious about?
Well, a lot. I'd say, I'd say probably psychology, the mind. The mind is definitely something I'm interested in.
Something about Billy Pinckney that people do not know about.
Oh, boy. I'm an only child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Billy, you mentioned your website again. One more time, where can people find you?
Yes, BillyTheBatBoy.com, and then Billy the Batboy on all social platforms. And the book is obviously Passion Prevails. It's on Amazon.
Very cool. Billy, I'm a quote guy. Yogi Berra's a quote
Yes.
guy. How about a quote to end the show here?
Oh boy, we might have to go back to the good old Dr. Gilbert book of quotes. I have so many ingrained in my head, but one of them is you have to get turned on by difficulty. The average loser gets turned off. You have players or people in general who, once they face some adversity, that's it, they crumble. But if you face some challenges and you get turned on by that, you decide to keep going and to get up, to get excited, say, hey, we face some challenges right now, but we're going to go after it and we're going to face it head on. Those are the people who persevere and who are successful in not just a certain facet of their life, but usually in multiple areas, because they bring that same mentality into those different areas of their life.
Yeah, you fail 7 out of 10 times in baseball, and you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You're an all-star, and that's that mindset. So,
Right.
kudos to you, Billy. This was inspiring. Thanks for all the viewers watching live this morning, up early this morning. Again, looking to improve, looking to learn, looking to grow. So, kudos to you, Billy. I wish you the best on your journey.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and again, if you haven't called the hotline, sorry, Billy. Sorry. If you haven't called the hotline, my mouse stopped working. I got to get over here. Certainly do that. Dr. Gilbert is a great resource. Someone called him a national treasure, Billy, and I agree with that. So appreciate Dr. Gilbert and all he's done. Billy the Batboy, Billy Pinckney, everyone. Billy, have a great day, and let's go Mets.
There we go.
They're both playing again today, right? Yankees and
Mets
are.
Yankees are off until tomorrow, and then the Mets are playing this afternoon.
Yeah, beautiful day for baseball. That game yesterday was incredible. I mean, you get them to the 7th, 8th inning. I mean, that's turning it on.
They turn it on in the 8th. I don't know what it is. They find it. They find a way.
Yesterday was incredible. So enjoy those games. Enjoy the Sunday, everyone. Billy Pinckney. Billy, you stay on the line a second, and we are going to sign off here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond. If I could help you in any way, don't hesitate to reach out through my channels. Billy, thanks so much, my friend.
Thank you.
Keep surviving and thriving.